It's Tuesday, February 24th, 2026. The media raises Cain, Gavin's no good, very bad soundbite, and one issue where there should be unanimous Thanksgiving. Next on the AM Update. There were several stories making the rounds yesterday about how the General Dan Cain, that would be the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, how he was starting to raise alarm bells about going to war with Iran and the second and third order impacts of that. A lot of stories insinuating that the very top general that has the president's ear was starting to go wobbly on the issue of Iran. Multiple outlets reported that yesterday before President Trump had to clear the air on Truth Social, saying, quote, numerous stories from the fake news media have been circulating stating that General Dan Cain, sometimes referred to as Raisin, is against us going to war with Iran. The story does not attribute this vast wealth of knowledge to anyone and is 100% incorrect. General Cain, like all of us, would like not to see war, but if a decision is made on going against Iran at a military level, it is his opinion that it will be something easily won. He knows Iran well and that he was in charge of Midnight Hammer, the attack on the Iranian nuclear development. So there is President Trump saying, no, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, he's not going wobbly on the issue of Iran, and war still could be on the table. On the issue of the people who keep gunning for him, literally, most recently over the weekend, I told you about that story yesterday at Mar-a-Lago, that 20-something-year-old young man. President Trump had this to say.
I don't know how long I'll be around. Got a lot of people gunning for me, don't I? Huh? But I will not forget them. I'm never going to forget them.
So there's President Trump having a good sense of humor over the latest incident where somebody got in fairly close proximity to him with firearms and other weapons. California Governor Gavin Newsom continues his tour across the country. He was speaking to an audience in Georgia. It's being billed as a predominantly black audience. I'm sure you've probably seen this already, but we need to talk about it nonetheless. Talking to a black audience where he then tries to relate to them.
I'm not trying to impress you. I'm just trying to impress upon you. I'm like you. I'm no better than you. I'm a 960 SAT guy. And I'm not trying to offend anyone, trying to act all there if you got 940. But literally a 960 SAT guy. I cannot, you've never seen me read a speech because I cannot read a speech. Maybe the wrong business to be in.
So California Governor Gavin Newsom trying to relate to a predominantly, we're being told, black audience, saying, I'm just like you. I scored low on the SAT and I can't read. Yikes. That has been widely panned already, as you can imagine. Also, during an interview with CNN, Newsom seemed to indicate he's done, or at least he thinks Democrats should be done, wink, wink, with the woke.
There's no doubt that the Democratic Party needs to be, dare I say, more culturally normal. I believe that. Less prone to spending disproportionate amount of time on pronouns, identity, politics. More focused on tabletop issues, things that really matter, the stacking of stress in terms of electricity bills and child care costs and health care and obviously housing costs, and how easily we get trapped in that, how I've fallen prey to that. I mean, here I was, way out front on marriage equality, so I understand this from both on the receiving end of this and on the...
Gavin Newsom, once again the latest Democrat to telegraph their strategy for the midterms and probably future elections, saying that Democrats need to be more culturally normal. Translation, we need to lie our what's off to the American people to convince them that we're not really that radical so that they'll hand us power one final time. Some of those aforementioned radicals, we think, will not be attending tonight's State of the Union address. Dozens of elected Democrats are reportedly planning to stay home. Markey of Massachusetts, the Oregon, I believe, senator, the Connecticut senator, Chris Murphy, Tina Smith of Minnesota, Chris Van Hollen of Maryland, Ansari of Arizona, Balint, of Vermont, Kasar of Texas, Escobar of Texas, dozens of Democrats saying they are going to skip tonight's State of the Union address, President Trump's first State of the Union address of his second term. Last year's For Reasons was referred to as an address to the joint session of Congress. A stock market sell-off had investors rushing to relative safety of bond markets on Monday morning, causing yields to drop and mortgage rates to follow. The average rate on the popular 30-year fixed mortgage fell to 5.99% on Monday, according to Mortgage Daily News, or Mortgage News Daily. That's matching its lowest level since 2022. Last year, this time, the rate was 6.89%. The drop in yields is due to a combination of factors, including new uncertainty over tariffs, cooling inflation, and economic weakness shown in a lackluster gross domestic product report on Friday. While rates briefly dipped into the 5% range for a few hours in January, they bounced back that same day. So there's always give and take when there's economic news. You read the headline, lowest mortgage rates since 2022, and then, of course, it's a matter of perspective. You can take a dour perspective. You can take a more optimistic perspective, but there's always trade-offs. Why are the rates dropping? It's like, why are gas prices so low? Well, it could be because we're increasing production, and so there's more gas on the market, more oil on the market, so that drives down the price. Or it could be because there's not demand for gas, and a leading indicator of that would be things like shipping, trucking. When you don't need to ship something, you need less gas, and so the gas price falls. You get what I'm saying here, and it seems to be this mortgage rate story kind of falls into the latter category. How about this story? U.S. artificial intelligence company Anthropic said on Monday it uncovered campaigns by 3 Chinese AI firms to illicitly extract capabilities from its Claude chatbot and what it described as an industrial-scale intellectual property theft. Anthropic said DeepSeek, Moonshot AI, and Minimax used a technique known as distillation, using outputs from more powerful AI systems to rapidly boost the performance of a less capable one. The company said in a statement, quote, "These campaigns are growing in intensity and sophistication. The window to act is narrow." Distillation, this practice that these Chinese, really spy companies were using. Common practice with AI development, often used by companies to create cheaper, smaller versions of their own models. And these 3 Chinese companies, according to Anthropic, they were attempting to rip off their own product, Claude, using that illicit method. It's illicit when you're trying to rip stuff off, of course. Let's go to this. Actor Robert De Niro has never taken an interview. He's never seen an interview he didn't want to take. We'll put it that way. Here he is, though, dialing up the acting in real life to 11.
Around you, everybody.
Yeah, of course.
Why is that?
You have to. You have to lift people up.
Why?
You have to bring them together. Period. You can't divide people. You can't win that way. It's a no-win situation.
So the question that got cut off there, he was asked about Trump being president and how he approaches this in his work. He said, you have to lift people up. You can't divide people. I don't know. I'm kind of old enough to remember when he was, routinely on a daily basis calling Trump a Nazi, calling his supporters Nazis. But no, he wants to lift people up, and that's the only way to do it. That's the only way you can win. You can't divide people. When we come back, I think there's one topic, one issue, and I think it bears reminding everyone within the sound of my voice again. One issue where there should be unanimous thanksgiving. I'll tell you what that is coming up next.
I once was lost, but now found, was blind, but now I see. Through
U.S. Army Chorus singing a beautiful rendition of Amazing Grace. They were at the White House yesterday. I'd intended to only play maybe about 10 seconds of that, but it was such a beautiful rendition, I let it play out a little bit longer. At the White House yesterday, singing that in remembrance of the souls lost, the lives taken by illegal immigration. They were singing in solidarity with angel families at the White House, where President Trump signed a presidential proclamation making February 22nd, 2026, National Angel Family Day. President Trump had these remarks as well, surrounded by angel families.
But I want to conclude by reading part of a letter I received earlier this year from two heartbroken grandparents who will never again see their 8-year-old granddaughter after an illegal alien ran her over with his truck purposely. They wrote to me, "We are hurting so badly and now know that the hurting in our family will never go away. It never, ever will go away. We're not seeking notoriety. We don't care about press coverage, but we do want our girl to be remembered. We want people to actually know how preventable this murder was. And lastly, we want the American government to be accountable to its citizens." True. They should be accountable for what they did. That's my administration, and I will tell you, fighting, and we're fighting so hard. All of them, everybody together is fighting. We're putting American citizens first. We're defending American lives, and we're fighting for every angel family. Angel families are beautiful families. They're beautiful families.
At that same event at the White House, the signing of the presidential proclamation making February 22nd Angel Family Day, Laken Riley's mother, Allison Phillips, spoke as well about the role that President Trump and the administration have had in helping to remember the daughter she lost.
A lot of people feel like that President Trump is maybe different than the version that I've gotten to know. And I just can't thank you enough. You have said from the beginning, literally the day after this happened, that you would not forget about Laken. You weren't president at that time, and you have not forgotten. You have fought a fight that most people would not want to have to fight. Most people wouldn't. They would just say it's just easier not to do this. And President Trump you are doing a thankless job that most people just wouldn't do. And I just can't thank you enough. There are just not enough words to say. Because if you lived the nightmare that we have lived, you understand the importance of the job that he's doing and securing our nation and fighting for our families, because this could be any family. This happened to my family. This could be any one of your families.
Allison Phillips, mother of Laken Riley, on President Trump not forgetting her daughter, who was murdered by an illegal alien. And finally, air analysis, slightly acidic, mostly necessary. One more clip this morning. This actually comes from May, I believe, of last year. Border Czar Tom Homan on the job that Immigration, Customs Enforcement, and Border Patrol are doing. He gets into some pretty gritty specifics.
But we're not going to give up to every one of these kids are found. So we just found one 2 days ago, an example, 14-year-old little girl living with 2 adult males who trafficked her, and we found her she's pregnant from trafficking, being forced into prostitution. 14 years old. So we're taking care of her, both physically and mentally. Despite what the media says, we're not heartless. We care about these kids. I'm a father. And the reason I'm so emotional and so hard headstrong on this issue because I dealt with dying children throughout my career. I've held dying children. I've held dead children. I talked to little girls as young as 9 that were raped multiple times by the criminal cartels. I'll never forget it. When you get on your knees to talk to a 9-year-old little girl, everything innocent and pure is ripped from her, and she don't believe in humanity anymore because you had a bunch of animals crawling on her and taking everything pure from her. You'll never forget it. And that shit's happening every day through this trafficking, and we're going to put an end to it. Everything we can do.
Border Czar Tom Homan, and remarks that have been passed around widely in recent days. Those comments come from last May, but it's relevant to the conversation that I want to have and conclude here this morning. There's one issue that we need to have uniform, unanimous Thanksgiving, and it is this issue. Are the deportations at a pace that I think a lot of people, especially in the right-wing America, would like them to be at? No, but they are happening. They are happening. Is the border secure? Yes. Is it a night and day difference, this entire issue, immigration, than 3 years ago, certainly 4 years ago? Objectively, yes. Which means that hopefully we have fewer stories like the grandparents that we heard Trump share, like Laken Riley's mom, like Border Czar Tom Homan talking about that 14-year-old girl and others like her that he has known. Immigration by and large. That word, that issue has been a substitute to describe something that has been whitewashed by and large for the last 20 years, which is the evil that you just heard. To make this policy right again means what? We're punishing evil. We're protecting innocence. And I think it's objectively true that's what we're doing. You can squabble about how fast the deportations are happening. You know what? I would like them to be faster as well. But what you cannot argue with is that finally, if you're right-wing, if you're conservative, you believe in limited government, not no government. And the problem that we've had for so long with government as a whole is that in areas where there should be limited government, there seems to be a lot of government, healthcare, education, etc. And in areas where there should be a lot of government, there's not enough. Like the border of our country. Now that pendulum is swinging back the other direction, and that's something we should all be thankful for. That's going to do it for a Tuesday. Back at it again tomorrow. I'm Aaron McIntire, and this is the AM Update.